Hey everybody, tonight we're going to take a look at Ballista Pro from Latitude64. It's the second of their prototype releases following the Explorer, and I have to say that for me, both of these discs have been a lot of fun to throw and test. So, the Ballista Pro is the beefed up, more overstable version of the Ballista. So a big arm Pro should be throwing this, similar to the way a smaller arm AM should be throwing the Ballista. So the idea is more stability, similar flights with more arm speed. So what do you get to see in this video? Well, first you're going to see me throwing it in the field. I'm going to put it up against a GL Ballista because I wanted the Ballista Pro comparison. I'm going to put it up against a VIP World because I noticed in my first set of testing that this thing carried a straight line and faded, so I wanted to see how those two would compare. And I also put it up against a well-loved Biodefender, so it's not super beat, but it's got some of the stability knocked out of it just to see how those would compare. And it stacks up very favorably. It's not going to go as far for me with my arm speed as a GL Ballista, but it's also going to be quite a bit more stable. So whereas the GL Ballista stands up, flips out, maybe comes back to center, the Ballista Pro is going to hold a straighter line, fade at the end, or if I tilt it, it's going to crush out, catch its stability, flatten out, and then fade at the end. With the Defender, I was consistently putting this Ballista Pro 10-15 feet past it. Not quite the stability to it that the Defender had, but a little bit extra distance, and it's very similar with the World. The World wasn't going quite as far, but you're going to see, with the one good throw I had with the World, you're going to see the comparison of those two flights. Yeah, overall, a lot of fun to throw. You're also going to see Ryan Rowe and Brandon Smith from the Explorer video throwing this. Ryan's going to put it up against a champion destroyer, because he had heard it might be in the destroyer category, so you get to see those flights. And Brandon Smith is going to compare it to the Ballista, so you get to see a little bit slower arm speed, compare those as well. If you have questions or comments, please put them below, but I will say this 2.4 centimeter rim long range driver, you can see how wide the rim is. For me, feels great in the hand. It fit well. It felt like a natural long-range driver for me. I was getting very smooth releases out of it, and you're going to see, I really liked throwing it. I thought it was easy distance. I liked flexing it. You're going to get to see comparisons where I'm releasing the Ballista Pro on a little bit of hyzer and it's flipping up and turning out, and the Ballista Pro is following almost the same line, only I released it on an anhyzer to force it over to get those curves. Just a ton of fun to throw. Like I said, easy distance for my arm speed, maybe even slower arm speeds, but we'll see. But again, if you have questions or comments, please put them below so I can get back to you. Otherwise, watch the comparisons. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you take a look at the Ballista Pro. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for watching. Okay, so here we go out to the field. There are going to be 3 throws. First throw is about 65-70%. Just throwing the disc out there so you can see what it does with that power level. Nice hyzer finish at the end. Second throw, ratchet up maybe 80%. You'll see a lot straighter line at first, but again, that stable finish with the height. And the third throw I'm going to give a little more power. It's going to turn over just a touch, hold a very straight line, and then fade nicely down to the ground safely. So that's the disc in flight. Here we go with some comparisons. Ballista on top, Ballista Pro on bottom. Both on that straight line. This is a maybe 80% power shot, I think. But where the Ballista Pro is starting to fade hard, the Ballista is breaking right and fading to center. That's the difference in stability on the two. Second comparison is with the Biodefender. I believe the Biodefender is going to pop up out of the screen. It's just got more height than the Ballista Pro on this one. But you're going to see them both finish on hyzer line. The Ballista Pro is going to be about 15 feet farther out there than the Defender. And here we go against the World. This is pretty close to full power. Both are going to hold a straight line. Ballista Pro is going to start just a little farther right than the World. You're going to see both of them stand up, hold that straight line. World's going to fade a little bit harder and it'll be about 15 feet shorter than the Ballista Pro. On the next couple videos, I want to apologize. The sun does make the blue discs hard to track in flight. What you're going to see is fairly similar flights out of the discs where they're going to stand up, turn over to the right, and then fade back toward the pin. But if you go back and watch the release angle, whereas the Ballista is released with just a tiny hint of a hyzer flip release where it turns out, the Ballista Pro is actually released with just the slightest turnover and hyzer release. That's more evident on the second throw, where you're going to see on the bottom of the screen. Watch the release. The disc is actually drifting right already because I've tipped it. It's going to turn over right side of the pin, fade back toward it. Ballista was released with a slight hyzer release again, stands up, turns over a little bit, and then fades left of the pin. So similar flights, different releases. And just for fun, coming out of this 380-foot tunnel, see the disc hit the tree. Skip up to the basket. Nice easy throw with the Ballista Pro. So here we move on to Brandon. You're going to see Ballista Pro. This is the same throw that it's going to be in the stacked in just a second. Stays fairly low. Stability kicks in. Nice hard fade toward the center. Now in the stacked view with the Ballista, it's going to be a little bit tricky to see, but the Ballista is going to turn right through Brandon's body where you can't see it, over the top of that right side basket, then fade back over his shoulders about 5 feet short of the pin. Brandon actually fell in love with the Ballista this day while testing the Ballista Pro.
Brandon Smith again. Out here throwing the Ballista Pro prototype today. I've never thrown the Ballista before till today. Well, it's going to make its way in my bag, and I think the Pro is going to be my overstable version for a headwind. It's guaranteed to come back. I could really throw on this disc and not have to worry about it turning over in a headwind. It went nice and straight with a nice fade at the end with a really good finish on it. It's a really good overall disc, nice and straight. I throw about 300 to 320 with the Ballista, so the Ballista Pro is a little shorter, but it's a little more overstable and finished really nice.
And now we'll see Ryan throw 400 feet to the long pin. Disc is going to stand up, kick over maybe just a touch to the right, and then fade and skip just past the pin about 15 feet long. For the first comparison, Ryan's going to throw these both really high. Destroyer starts a little bit farther left and goes a little bit higher. It's going to end up on a harder, just a stall fade. Ballista Pro is going to end up about 30 feet longer and a straighter throw. And that's partially due to throw for sure. But here's where you get a better comparison of those stabilities. This is that first throw. Both of these are going to be lower line drives. But about 75% of the way there, you're going to see the Destroyer really starts, the overstability of the Destroyer starts to kick in. It starts to fade, whereas the Ballista is still pushing forward and is going to skip past the pin. This last throw is probably Ryan's coolest one, thrown back to the camera. About 395 to that disc that you see forward, and 395 right there.
Hello everybody, I'm Ryan Rowe with Disc Crazy Outdoor and More. Came out here to Lappin Park today to do some throws with some prototypes. The one I've got here is the Ballista Pro. It's a high-speed distance driver. I really like this disc. We threw a couple of other discs along with it. They were the Destroyer and the existing Ballista. I felt that this disc fell in line with my arm speed a little bit better than the Destroyer, and it was a tick more overstable than the existing Ballista. Had some really nice throws with it. It fits in my hand well. The optoplastic suited me nicely. Some nice flex in the flight plate. On the nicer throws I had with it, it preferred a lower line. I think I could throw some big hyzers with it, but I haven't really tried it out too much. I threw my best throw with this today was probably a little over 400 feet, so it gets where you want it to go. Check it out, Ballista Pro by Latitude64.
In recap, the Ballista Pro is a more overstable version of the Ballista, which Latitude64 released a couple years ago. It's designed so that bigger arms can get similar flights to what the Ballista is doing without having to worry about it turning over too much and maybe getting some fade. Of course, your arm speed will determine just how overstable it is for you. If you liked this video or found it informative, please feel free to like it, give it a thumbs up, share it, or even subscribe to the page, and thanks for watching.